Okay, let's get started. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how to navigate your Life in the Garden website. We'll get started by logging into the site by adding a /wp-admin to the end of your site's URL, alicelongfellow.com, which will bring up the login page. You will enter the username and password that was created for you, and then click Log In, which will take you to the dashboard of your site. Now from here, I want to show you some of the features and plugins which are currently in use or available to you for future use on your site and can be found mostly in the black column on the left-hand side of your dashboard right here. Some of these features can also be found on the top row of your dashboard as well. So we'll get started with the media library. The media library for your site is where you will find all of the images, audio or video files, and PDFs that have been uploaded to your site. Adding new media is as simple as just hovering over the media option here in the left-hand column of your dashboard, then clicking Add New. Once you've arrived on the upload screen, you can either drag and drop your media file into this box or select files to locate your media on your device. Now, using this feature, it is possible to upload more than one file at a time to your site. So this can be helpful if you have maybe a number of images that you want to add throughout your site. If we swing back to the library, clicking on a media file will give you the opportunity to rename, edit, or even add captions to the file. So you can see I've clicked on this photo here and I can add a caption to it in this field that would appear throughout your site. I can also edit it. Let's say if I want to make it smaller or crop part of the picture, I can do that by clicking on this Edit Image button here. So we'll close out of that. Next, I want to tell you about a plugin called Smart Post Show. Now for your site, we use Smart Post Show to filter and display things like your recent blog posts or your Alice's Log features in ways that are visually appealing and match the style of your site. All of this would have been done prior to when your site was launched during the build phase. And you shouldn't really have a need to make changes to any of the shows that have set up for you, which you can see here. But I just want to make you aware that it's there and what its purpose is on your site. Now I want to spend a few minutes talking about how forms are used on your site. Forms can be found by clicking the Forms button on the left-hand side of your dashboard. From here, I want to show you how to make some simple changes to forms, as well as how to duplicate an existing form for future use. For training purposes, we'll take a look at your Ask the Expert form. So to edit a form, you'll just click on the form name, which will take you to the edit screen. Now from here, you can edit existing fields, you can add new fields using the options on the right-hand side of the screen here, or you can move fields using a simple drag and drop motion. So you see there, I just switched the placement of the email and the name fields. Okay, very easy to do. Now a simple change to this form might be to add a phone number field underneath the name field, here in this space underneath the name. So to do so, you can search for phone here in this search box, and you'll see some kind of pre-designed fields will pop up down below. And to add this field, you can drag it to wherever you want it to appear within the form. So if I want it underneath the name, I'll just click on the button and drag it over here under the name field. So once the field appears, you can make some changes to it by clicking on this setting button here. And you can do things like edit the field label. Let's say we want to change it from phone to phone number. You can change the format, which defaults to international. You can change it to a more traditional 10-digit number, if that suits you better, or you can make it a required field for submission, which means that people filling out your form will not be able to submit the form without completing this field. Okay, so we don't want to save this as is, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this field from your form. And then I want to be sure and save my work to make sure that it looks exactly as we want it to on the front of your site. Now, clicking on the entries option here at the top of the screen will allow you to view any submissions that have been made to each of your forms. These entries can be exported if, let's say, you want to use them for some sort of data collection purpose or anything like that, by clicking on this import export option here on the left hand side of your dashboard. Okay, now let's go back to your list of forms for just a second. Let's say that you want to duplicate your Ask the Expert form and maybe modify it just a little bit for another purpose. This is as simple as just hovering over the form title and then clicking duplicate. Now this option would allow you to make small edits to a form while keeping the rest of the form intact and really preventing you from duplicating all of that work in the future. So if you want to do that, you just click that button and here you have your new form where you can make edits as needed. For now, we'll go ahead and just delete that form that we just created. Okay. Now we'll move on to the Pages section of your dashboard. This is where you can access and edit your home page, as well as any of your internal pages, which you can see listed here. You can also create new pages by clicking the Add New button at the top of this page. So let's start by taking a look at your homepage. You can do this easily by hovering over your site name in the upper left-hand corner of your dashboard, which is there. As long as you're logged in, you should be able to find it there, and click the Visit Site option. Now you'll see how your homepage is broken up into sections. So you've got your header or your slider here that kind of introduces people to your site. You've got some blog posts here. You've got a really great introduction to your site here with a beautiful, very appropriate image introducing folks to what you do. Another sort of introduction to your site and to who you are. You've got really this description of the intent of your site really clearly stated here. And then you've got your get in touch form here at the bottom. You also have, as I'm sure you know, your header here and your footer down here, which is consistent across every page of your site. Okay, so now let's take a look at how to edit the home page. To start, you'll click on Edit Page here at the top of your dashboard. You'll notice that the edit page is broken up into the same groups and sections that we just looked at on the front of your site. So let's walk through how to maybe add a new section to the homepage. So to do this, let's pretend that we want to add it to the bottom of our homepage. So we'll scroll toward the bottom of the edit page and click Add Content Section, then Standard Page Section. Now, I do want to say, if you're making an edit and you don't want it to be at the bottom, but let's say you want it to be maybe up here after your site intro and before that quote, you can go up here to this section and click on the Add Layout button. It looks like a little plus sign, and that will allow you to do the same thing that I'm about to show you, just in a different place. Okay, so down here in our news section, let's say that maybe maybe we want to add a call to action to your site. Everything that appears in this visual text editor, along everything from your introduction to your site to your blog posts, which are edited in the same way, really works just like a document in your typical word processing software. Okay, so anything within these sections can be edited to your liking. Okay, so let's say we want to create a call to action in our news section. So first you might include some text such as "Contact me today." Okay, now remember that your text size, your color, boldness, etc., all of that can be edited to your liking right here in this visual text editor. Okay, so let's say we want to turn this into a button. Okay, we can do that by just highlighting this text and hovering over the Formats button here. It's a drop-down menu, and selecting the button option. Okay, now maybe we want to link it to our contact page. We would do that by clicking this link here, going to link options, which allows us to see all of the pages and different blog posts and things like that on our site. Okay, and maybe we want to connect it to, instead of a contact page, maybe our garden tours page. So we would just click there and click the add link option, and now we've got this call to action button that when users click on it will be directed to your garden tours page. Okay, we can do that for any page, any blog post that you like. Okay, whatever functionality you need there. Okay, clicking through these buttons here, we won't go too in depth on these options, but I just want you to see that you can make a lot of changes with regard to the styling of your individual sections. You can add a background image or maybe a color if you want it to be something other than white. You can play around with the spacing a little bit, maybe make the section extra tall or extra narrow, anything like that. You can change the alignment. All of that happens here, and I do want to say that you can change that for each section. So maybe if you want this section to look different than the one you just created, all of them can be set to a different format using these buttons within the various sections. Okay, so I want to remove the new section that we've just created, and that's very simple to do using this remove layout button, or looks like a minus or a subtraction sign. We'll click that. It asks us if we're sure that we want to remove it, and we are, and now it's gone. Any changes that you make, you can preview before they go live on your site by clicking this preview changes button here, and that will open a live view of whatever page you've just edited. In this case, it's the home page. You'll see that our call to action is not down here, which is good. We don't want it to be, but this allows you to really visualize the changes that you've just made before you save them and take them live. Okay, so don't forget that that preview changes button should always be an option for you before you make changes. Okay, another tool that we use to organize content are what we call pods, which is just a framework within WordPress that is used for creating customized content types and fields. So in your case, we've organized some of your posts within a pod that's simply labeled Alice's Logs. So you'll see that here on the left-hand side of your dashboard. Okay, from here you can easily add a new log, or you can edit an existing log, or even remove a log whenever necessary. Okay, all of those changes look very similar to the edit screen that we just saw on your homepage. Okay, now while your site is fairly straightforward in nature, there may be a need for you to add additional features in the future in either your menu or maybe your header or your footer sections. To edit your menu, you'll hover over the word appearance here on the left hand side of your dashboard and then click menus. Now here you'll see the menu structure that currently exists on your site. This should be pretty familiar to you. You have an option to go to your blog, the Ask the Expert page, your podcast link here, information about your garden tours, and then Alice's log. Okay, so that's your primary navigation menu there. If you want to make changes, you can add pages or custom links using the various options here under this Add Menu Items heading. You can also drag and drop your various menu and sub-menu items on the right. So let's say, for example, you want to change the order of how things appear. You could move Ask the Expert ahead of your blog or vice versa. Whatever you want to do, all of that in this window under menu structure is a simple drag and drop function. Okay. Another thought might be maybe you would reorder your menu or add a link to maybe a page just for a period of time. For example, if you want to draw special attention to an upcoming event, or maybe a tour that you've just launched, or maybe an important blog post that you have. That's very easy to do, and you can just add them here for a short time, save your menu, and then come back when you're ready to take that down. Okay, now your site's header and footer are edited through something called widgets, which are also found under the appearance option on the left hand side of your dashboard. So your header includes everything in this header right box. So it's got your logo, and then it's got your navigation menu. Okay, fairly straightforward. If you use your footer, if you want to add an additional footer, right now your footer includes your image and your get in touch form. Okay, all of that can be edited here. Next, I want to show you how to add a user to share access to your site. Let's say maybe you want to have someone help you add blog posts from time to time, or maybe edit some photos. You'll do that by hovering over the word users here on the left hand side of your dashboard and then click add new. Okay, just add the new username right here, along with the email address of the user. Both of those are required fields. And then you'll create a password, or typically we like to use the one that's generated by WordPress itself. It's very secure, very long, not something that anyone's going to steal anytime soon. And so our only caution would be to be sure to document that password so that your new user will be able to access the system the first time they log on. Now, to see a list of all users with access to your site, you can go back here and click All Users on the left-hand side of your dashboard. This is also where you can maybe edit the password of an existing user. If someone has forgotten their password, you can edit it or reset it from this screen. Okay, now the final plugin I want to show you is Slider Revolution, which we'll use to update the header slideshow currently displaying at the top of your homepage. You'll find Slider Revolution near the bottom of your left-hand side of your dashboard. Okay, now when you open it, you'll see here you only have one active slider on your site right now. and you'll see it here. It's your homepage slider. You can edit it by hovering over it and clicking the Show Slides button. Okay, now you'll see that you have 3 slides currently in your slide rotation. Now let's say you want to add a new background image to your final slide. So to do that, you would click Slide Options. After you open the slide in the editor, you'll click Slide Options, which is this third option here on the right hand side of your screen. And then under Source, you'll see an option to open the media library. And you can either add an existing image, maybe you have one in your library already that you like particularly well for that function, or you can upload a new photo using the process that I showed you earlier. Okay, whatever you decide to do there. You can also add a new slide by hovering over the slides menu option here, and then clicking the duplicate button after the final slide, which will add another slide. Now you see we have 4, and this 4th slide has the same background as the new slide. Now because this new slide is a duplicate, it'll have the same background, but again, you can change it using that same process that I showed you from here with the slide options and going to the media library. Okay, now everything from text and background images, buttons, your slider is fairly straightforward right now, but just know that you have the opportunity to add some of those things in the future if you want to get a little more adventurous maybe with your slideshow. There's a number of options to be added here. Okay. Something I want to mention too, if you'll recall, your slideshow displays the same text across each slide, and that's what's called a global layer. Okay, that just means that whatever is a part of that layer, whether it be text or a button or an image or whatever the case may be, is able to be viewed across all of the slides. Okay, so I've clicked on global layers, and you can see this is currently what your global layer is across your slideshow. Again, that can be edited. You can choose to take it down. Obviously, I think in your case you would not take it down because it displays the title of your site, but some people may not want that to appear there. And so all of that is able to be changed through the global layer link. Okay, so again, you'll want to save your work once you've updated your slider to your liking. For now, we're going to delete that slide that we just created, and you do that simply by hovering over the slide and then clicking on the little trash can icon. Typically, everything in WordPress will prompt you if you're attempting to delete something, just to make sure it's what you want to do. And we do want to delete that slide, and then we'll save our work. So if we go back to our home page, everything should look just as it did when we started. So those are the basic steps for editing your site. Of course, if you have any questions or run into any issues, we're happy to offer additional support as needed.